So why did you organize the demonstration today?
Well, we had first thought that the records person, whose name is Jackie Dressler, she's up inside here. Notice property is closed, interestingly enough. There are only 4 hours a day you can get property as a homeless person if it's been taken away from you. Well, as anybody, but it mostly impacts those who are outside, I think. We came here because we were intending to look over the records of Officer Barnett, who is a downtown CSO, community service officer, and he has been accused by numerous people of a combination of racial profiling and abusive behavior toward homeless people, poor people downtown. As a radio broadcaster, I've gotten numerous reports of that happening, and so I wanted to look at his records regarding race. They would not give us a printout, or haven't yet anyway, of who was ticketed by Officer Barnett by race. So they did tell us, however, that if we wanted to look over each individual citation, of which there are hundreds, we could do that. So we came down here to do that, but then they told us, oh no, they're not ready yet. And so we decided we're going to come anyway, because the issue of homeless people facing police harassment, some of which is a function of city council anti-homeless laws, but some of which is a function of a mentality that I think too many people in the police department and the upper echelons of the police department either share or tolerate, which views homeless people as a nuisance, an encumbrance, a second-class citizen, someone who doesn't belong here. And it also, there are pressures from people who have property in Santa Cruz, who see their property values, I'm told, diminished, or merchants who feel that customers are deterred. And of course, for folks who are outside who medicate themselves, sometimes with meth, or cocaine, or marijuana, or alcohol, behavior problems can be very real and substantive, just as they can for people in houses. But the real issues for us are the criminalization of poor people. And that is the right to sleep at night, the right to be in a public place, the right to be on this property, for example, 24 hours a day, if necessary, as long as we're not engaging in criminal behavior. And this is a problem that people all over the country, this country particularly, have. Western countries, perhaps, particularly the United States, or particularly Santa Cruz and California, where there's a matrix of laws that criminalize homeless people's behavior in public places without using the word homeless. So we came here also because we wanted to challenge the withholding. That's a little strong. They weren't withholding records. We don't know that they're withholding records, but they certainly haven't provided us with the records, and those may be forthcoming. But we certainly have complaints of racial harassment, racial profiling, from Officers Barnett and Azua, for example, who I mentioned in the flyer that was put out. And both those officers, at least one of those officers, drove by. Both of them are welcome to have a public discussion about this. If they have their own perspective on it they want to give, that's fine. I've not heard them do this. Officer Azua, when confronted with an assault on Cynthia Kennedy in 2010, in the spring, laughed, just as he reportedly laughed when he drew a gun on a woman and her mother at the Salvation Army at the pre-Thanksgiving meal on November 26th of last year. Or was it a year and a half ago? Time goes so quickly. We have a police department that is not transparent, that is not accountable, that along with police departments throughout the country are growing in power and opaqueness. And you see this with they're becoming more like private occupying armies. I mean, how many police officers live in Santa Cruz? How many police officers are actually in the community that pays them? They will not tell us.
How long have you been receiving complaints about Officer Barnett?
I've been receiving complaints about Officer Barnett since at least November of last year, particularly around the issue of Kate Wenzel, who we call the Scarf Lady downtown, and others as well. And more recently, new complaints have come in. We had hoped that he had been advised that harassing people on Pacific Avenue is counterproductive. You're not going to get any fines or money out of it. Some people gravitate to these jobs because of the control factor. Other people feel it's important to do their job, even if that means overdoing their job. And of course, the real problem is with the job itself, which is criminalizing people who are in public places, or making it difficult for them on Pacific Avenue because of a Take Back Santa Cruz mentality, a right-wing vigilante mentality that wants to see street culture, hippies, homeless people, minorities who are not well-to-do, gone. That's my feeling and my sense of what's going on.